Hello, folks. Oops, sorry about that. My head is cut off right now. Okay. Okay. Hello, folks. It's me, Tommy, NC2010, and welcome back to another awesome Tommy Talks here live from the drink ring. I'm sorry if it's not high enough. Um, so tonight I have on the show Screaming Soup, and you want to be careful of his tricky hand and his partner, his skeleton friend, Mr. Dead West there. And the fact is, his show is I've checked out his channel. He's a horror reviewer, and he loves to have that trigger finger on the trigger all the time. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, before I introduce you to my guest, I have a segment on my show called "What's New with You." We're gonna go off with Mark Hyder first. So, Mark Hyder, what's with you?
Oh, not much, Tommy. Got some new ponies. Got a vlog to film still.
All right. Okay. So, Sega Camp, what's new with you?
Oh, nothing. Just getting these Mario Golf acapellas recorded. I should say, though, for fans of my channel, though, I'm still going to finish the project, though, but it's kind of now going over to my laptop now. My computer finally fried its last of a supporting chip or whatever. It just it fried the last microprocessor chip in it now, so now I'm just doing it. I'm getting this whole project finished here on the laptop just for you guys.
All right. So, Mr. Dead West, what's new with you, Mr. Screaming Soup? Also.
Well, what's new with us is kind of the same old story. We're just continuing to animate our episodes on a daily basis to bring the best entertainment we can for the future of horror hosting, and that is going to be broadcasting tomorrow on the 20th on our channel on YouTube, as well as a website, screamingsoup.com, where we are going to be screaming tribute to Alice Cooper with his film Monster Dog that he made back in the 80s.
Wow. That is truly amazing right there, and I can't wait to. I just became a subscriber of yours, and so, ladies and gentlemen, let's punch out this interview and take Dead West to the grave. But if Dead West won't go to the grave, we'll see if we can. We'll see if we can take this skeleton and bury him. Who knows if we can bury him or not? His soul is a wandering soul, and he has an itchy trigger finger, and all his buddies there. So, ladies and gentlemen, none other than I give you Screaming Soup, everybody. So, how you doing there, Mr. Screaming Soup, known as Mr. Dead West?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, pretty fine. How about yourself?
I am doing terrific. I can't believe I have such an awesome guest on here. Um,
Well, thank you
so,
very kindly.
um, who inspired you to be here on YouTube and do the things that you've done?
I tell you, the biggest influence for us has to have been the angry video game nerd, James Ralph. We actually started watching his channel as far back as close to when it started in the mid 2000s, and we just saw the opportunities and the possibilities with the internet, and just basically taking hold of something that's yours and promoting it through just independent means, which is YouTube, the internet, because no longer did you have to have the approval of a corporation or the acceptance of a TV studio. You can just, as long as you had the time, the creativity, and the effort, you can just apply yourself to whatever it is you wanted to do. And for us, it was horror hosting. We just were more or less, we were just kind of tired of the same one-trick pony everybody wanted to do since Zacherle's days and Elvira's days. Is always, about maybe 10 minutes worth of original segments of people in costumes and makeup just going at the camera, and and then you had to watch, like about an hour and a half of a really bad movie that either they were making jokes at or very little jokes at, and it just, to me, it's like it's been, already it's been like 50 years or more of the same kind of, like I said, one-trick pony. So what we wanted to do was bring kind of our two favorite things, which is like Space Ghost Coast to Coast meets Mr. Science Theater 3000, and we wanted to really like bring it in, and instead of having you watch an entire bad movie and get bored with it after who knows how long, just show you the highlights like in a short, like kind of 10, 15-minute segment, while giving you this kinetic energy you couldn't get elsewhere with the animation, where we take you on comedic adventures at the same time we were reviewing a horrible movie.
Now, now I'm curious. A lot of YouTubers show their face, and I noticed that you use a character. What reasons do you? Why do you? Is it an image thing, or is it just a character thing? What is it with the Dead West character that you use instead of your own image?
Well, actually, a long time ago, my family was on a gun range when I was little, and somebody forgot to put the safety on, and I actually lost half my face to a gun accident. And
Ooh,
no, I'm kidding. No, there's really no problem with the showing my face whatsoever. It's just at this point there really wasn't a reason to. I mean, you look at your favorite cartoon shows. Normally, you don't see the person's face that created the show unless you're like Matt from who created The Simpsons, or Seth who created Family Guy. But at this point, there just wasn't really a need for it. But no, I have no problem showing my face associated with the show.
Wow. So, what is your top favorite episode of Screaming Soup exactly?
I would have to say, so far of the episodes we've released, I really love the review of Satan's Little Helper. That's the last one we came out with. That just came out.
I just watched that recently, and I was laughing the whole entire time, and I do admit some of the scenes in there were demented, honestly, and like on the poster they make it look like it's actually like this character with an evil mouth, and all it is a guy in a rubber costume, and I'm like, really? You put this costume up? He looks like he's actually going to talk to you and say something to you, but it's just a guy in a serial killer in a rubber mask. I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and I loved it. If you watch the episode like you did, you'll see there's a lot of great scenes in it. My favorite one has to be the one where I actually played the 2-minute scene where it's the killer is pushing a shopping cart around the parking lot and just knocking down blind people, pregnant women, children, and
2 points, 3 points, 100 points. This is fun, Master.
It's just so good. But that's probably our favorite movie to review. Our favorite episode that was animated with the adventures and whatnot has to be probably the Chuck Norris episode. That was a lot of fun.
I actually didn't get a chance to watch that. Now that's a little bit off of horror genre. So are you?
No, actually, it's still connected. There's a Chuck Norris movie. The one we reviewed is called Hellbound, and it's where he fights the devil, basically.
Wow, Chuck Norris versus the devil. Wow, that's amazing. How do you fight the devil?
That's gotta be an epic fight right there. That has gotta be one epic fight.
Now, the question is that with you being inspired from the Angry Video Game Nerd, have you ever heard of the Nostalgia Critic?
Yes, I have. I heard of him through the Angry Video Game Nerd. They seem to be friends. He even made a cameo in his movie that was released in the last year or two. And I have seen a couple of his videos, so I am familiar with him, yeah.
But,
I have both of these, by the way. I know both of these people, by the way. Yes, I actually heard about the Angry Video Game Nerd, and then along the way I heard about the Nostalgia Critic, and then I'm pretty much I pretty much knew about it right by the time they had that epic fight, which was probably like years ago. Like I think when the Nerd was around for like 5 years or something like that. I think that's what it was.
Now, Screaming Soup, you have a theme song, and I listened to it. I have a question for you. Would you mind singing that jingle for us here today on the top? I know there's it's a G-rated show, but you're welcome to throw the words that your original words in there. Would you be welcome to sing that awesome jingle here on the show?
Yeah, I've got no problem. You caught me on the spot. I'm trying to remember just the first verse now. It's let's see. Oh man, I'm drawing a total blank. I can start at the second verse, but for whatever reason, the first verse is totally escaping me. It's wasn't expecting that.
All right, Paul.
Good question.
Come scream
You're
with
keeping
me.
Yep, you're keeping me on my toes. Yeah, that's definitely the chorus.
I hate these lasers made from, what is it, paper lasers. What am I watching? Will you come and scream with me? Scream and soup, will you come scream with me?
Screaming.
I think
Yeah, that's it.
screaming soup.
Take much more.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's like I hear it all day long because I'm editing, but for whatever reason, it's the first line. It just totally escapes me. I can start from the second one.
Well, we're not gonna bash on you because you don't know your own theme
No,
song.
you should. You should. I mean, holy crap! That's like Batman suddenly forgetting the no Batman. Holy crap! How could I drop the ball in that?
Like, even by the time when I heard about the Angry Video Game Nerd theme song, I had to adjust to that, even though because I knew it before when it was just Angry Nintendo Nerd, but then when it came to Angry Video Game Nerd, I was like, I had to start slowly adjusting to when it became the Angry Video Game Nerd. It eventually did. I finally could do the theme song now.
What do you think about this, man? I'm a rapper, so I got something for you. Yo, screaming soup coming down the street. It's Deadwood. He's coming for you. He's gonna review you. He hates these classic films. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna destroy you. He's gonna stick you in the microwave with his piggy friend, and he's gonna destroy you because it's screaming soup. Oh, come scream with me. Screaming soup. Come scream with me. Scream. Come scream with me. It's screaming Deadwood's coming for you. He's coming for you with his buddies, his zombie friends, and that Mexican vampire, which no one likes. I'm saying? It's screaming, because he's coming for you. Come scream with me.
I'm sorry, I actually missed that. Could you sing that one more time? No, I'm kidding. No, that was great. That was great. I definitely could have used that when, if you watch Screaming Soup reviews, Dead West Screams at the Green Slime, you'll actually see Ebenstein and Deadbeat. They do a great rap to that song, and I think that would have fit right in with Ebenstein's humor.
Yes, it's definitely. Just a second. But yeah. So our next question. What is the future? Where is the general future of your channel going? Would you say, in the future?
Well, the overall the biggest goal we have for the show, of course, is to entertain and to make people laugh, and that's the biggest reward to us. But in a long-term sustaining goal would be, of course, for it to become something popular, very big. I would love for the end result would be Screaming Soup to be something like nationally recognized. I would love it if we could even license it to be comic book, a toy line, because I think it could easily be all those things. I think we have the characters and we have the concept and everything. We have that edge that makes it something more like younger, high school kids, of course, would love it, and I think older people, from college to people in their 30s or 40s would definitely love it because it has that kind of Adult Swim kind of humor to it, along with the animation. But yeah, I would just like it to be as big as it possibly could.
Now, I'm curious. Have you thought about using the? There's millions of horror films out there now. Is it your when you eventually run out of horror films, will you actually go on to regular series and regular movies? Will you actually do that, or will you always just plunder for horror films and stay in the horror genre? I'm curious.
I find it incredibly hard to think anybody could run out of scary movies. I'll say this much: even if by some weird cosmic chance that we were able to review everything from Thomas Edison's Frankenstein all the way up to It Follows of today, a new horror movie is being pumped out almost. Well, it is being pumped out monthly, so I think we would always have something to talk about.
Now, I'm curious. What would you rather say? Do you like the era of the '80s and the '90s, or do you like the modern, kind of dumbed down comedy sense of 2000s horror films? Do you think?
That's a good question. I am a big fan of the late '70s through mid '90s horror because that's when it just went balls to the wall and special effects was god, and so they just wanted to pump in as much as they could in the scary movies before the CGI boom. So yeah, I'm definitely a bigger fan of that. I do like some of the things coming out with today, but really only time will tell if they become classic enough or not to really be something special, because usually they don't become big time immediately out the gates at the box office. You just have to wait and see what resonates and what sticks around.
Now, let me think here. I'm trying to get in my head. Now, recently, and I heard in 2016, we are going to get a Michael Myers versus Jason. What do you think? Do you think that battle would be epic, or do you think it would be lackluster?
I think if they were to ever make that story, the only thing that would make it epic would have to be the location they fought in and the people who have to survive the fight, because they're a little too evenly matched. I know they have the respected, like Jason can basically survive almost nearly anything. Michael's kind of the same way, but Jason has been stated to regenerate as he gets blown to pieces or shot up and what have you. But still, they're still a little evenly matched, so I think it'd have to be location and people involved.
Yeah, I have to say, I found something interesting how we actually put these people on pedestals, these serial killers. And why do you think we do that? Why do we think we put these, child rapists and murderers from movies up on pedestals? Why do we say, come on, kill them, kill them? Why do we not root for the people that are trying to get escape? Why do you think that?
It is my belief that, and this has been said many times in many ways, basically hard characters, monsters, and what have you, they are just expressions and extensions of our primal needs for blood and violence, and they just help us release a lot of tension throughout the day. They basically help us vent. But now it is surprising how sometimes we forget what certain ones are supposed to be. Like you mentioned, I think a pedophile, and Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger was a pedophile. He was molesting and killing children, but yet even Stephen King would write about, I don't understand why I was letting my children sleep with a Freddy Krueger doll. Because
yes.
I guess they just don't they mention it, but they don't really play it up a whole lot in the in the TV show or the comics or the movies, that angle.
And what's interesting is the network, the movie company that made Freddy Krueger, that they designed it and they brought it all together. They designed their company, and they said it was basically the metal poles that kept the company going, but they built the company up on a child rapist. Now, I know they've made many other films. They've made The Mask, and they've made so many other brand name movies that we know today. Now, you look at that company and you can say the biggest thing the biggest success that made them rich and what launched them off was a serial killer by the name of Freddy Krueger. It was a child rapist. What do you think of that? Do you think that's immorally wrong, or what do you think?
I think it would be more immorally wrong, of course, if the whole movie was based upon him doing that. But given that like I said, it's a part of his background, but they never actually show it. They never make a big point of it. So since it's more focused on him actually killing teenagers the whole time, I think that really made it not quite as bad, which makes it as okay as anything else, like Paramount making money off of all the Jason films.
All right. I tell you what, I had never heard of Freddy Krueger when I was little. I honestly like. I heard of Edward Scissorhands, and the first time I ever saw a Freddy Krueger film was I was watching cable television and I could see these cuts on the wall. I said, "Oh, Edward Scissorhands!" And next thing you know, there's this girl with slices in her back, and I'm like, Edward Scissorhands would never do that. And I watched more into it, and there's this guy with claws and everything, and with these corny little sayings. I'm like, that's not Edward Scissorhands. So getting into the horror genre. And I really dipped myself into the horror genre and found out
For you.
yes.
I need the glove with the fingers that Freddy has. I just need those.
I actually have them. I have plastic. I actually have the plastic gloves from Halloween. I have the mask and the shirt. Also, and people say, "Geez, Tommy, why would you dress up like a child rapist?" I said, "Well, I wasn't. I was just. It was a cheap costume. Honestly, it's something you can slap together real easy." And as Dead West said here, honestly, it's if you look at the perspective, he's just killing teenagers. He's going after teenagers. It's his background that he slaughtered children and stuff like that. But the main idea is he's going after teenagers. Am I right, Dead West?
Yeah, but I that brings up a good point because I had always wondered, once he got his powers, because he was only going after the little toddlers and the children before he was killed by the parents and became Freddy Krueger. So when he came back as Freddy Krueger, I really wanted to know, so was he still killing little kids or going for them, or did he think it was too easy now that he had all these powers and he waited till they became of age as a teenager so they'd be a bit more challenging?
Yeah, and it's very interesting that he did this, and a lot of these characters, for instance, Hellraiser, he's kind of interesting because he's not really a human being, he's a demon, And what do you think, Hellraiser versus Freddy Krueger? What do you think?
Let's see. I think as many normal people that have deceived the Cenobites, I think Freddy Krueger could definitely figure out his way around the place and escape somehow and trick them into whatever he needed in order to escape. I do think that would give him a run for his money, but I see him escaping and tricking them somehow. Maybe not defeating them in the truest sense of they're no more, but at least getting away from them where he's not being submitted to their torture the whole time.
No, I mean, I'm not talking about that technical. I mean, absolutely dumbed down battle against Hellraiser versus Freddy Krueger. They have to fight each other, and it's towards the end of the film that he escapes, but Hellraiser gets out, and I guess these kids are frightened, and the ultimate showdown between Hellraiser and Freddy Krueger, who would win that match?
Okay, if they're dumbed down without any powers. I would have to give it to Hellraiser, and that's only because of his background as a soldier. He was actually trained to kill and fight.
Really? He's a soldier? I thought he was just a demon.
No, he was originally a man transformed into a Cenobite, which is demon to some, angels to others, which is a tagline from that movie series. But no, originally he's a man. He even becomes a man again recently in the latest comics by Clive Barker that came out from the comic shop. I think it's IDW that came out with those books.
Why do you think Hollywood takes so long to come out with these horror films, these classic horror films that we know and love and want to watch? Why do you think they take so long to make a horror film?
I think they kind of lost steam for a while. In the 80s, they were pumping them out so fast because they were making money so well and they were low production costs. I think lately they just lost a little bit of steam, but they've been picking it back up for the last few years. But I couldn't tell you why some of them haven't been picking up pace. I mean, for instance, Friday the 13th. Holy crap! Did they not miss the perfect opportunity to come out with? I think it was March 13th, 2013. I think that was actually a Friday, and it's how perfect would that date have been But no, they just totally blew it and missed the ball, and I don't know why it takes them so long. Even Jeepers Creepers 3, I'm still waiting for that. That director is still surprised from what I read in an article in one of my horror magazines about how people will say that he's almost ready to start directing when he's sitting in his home like, I'm not, that's not happening. I wish it were, but money is a big problem for him making that one right now.
It's actually trying to get a network or a actual movie company to get behind you and say sponsor me, and it's surprising. You think of all these interesting shots, but then you think, okay, how much fake blood am I gonna need? How many heads do I need? How much CGI do I need? And at the end of the day, you have to say, okay, that's gonna cost over like say 20,000 grand, and you realize, you look at your bank account and you're just like,
it'd be more than 20,000 grand, Tommy, because you've got to hire the studio, you've got to hire all the extras.
Yeah,
it's still low budget, but it'd be more than 20 grand.
Now, I'm curious, Dead West, have you ever thought about making your own horror film and topping the industry of Hollywood? And even though it would be a small budget, have you ever thought about making your own brand of horror film?
Yeah, I actually have many times. In fact, that's it's not directly understood maybe in the show, but if you read a little bit into the background, like on the ScreamingSoup.com website, you can read the biographies and all the characters, and it's explained that Dead West, the reason why he's reviewing all of these movies is because he's stuck in this dimension called the Crosslands, and he was a outlaw that was on the rise as to be an infamous outlaw that was to be well known around the world, but he got gunned down before he could reach that. So now in the Crosslands, he is trying to achieve that once again, but through a different means. And what he's doing is he has learned that the Crosslands is full of all the original inspirations for the scary movies like the Freddy Kruegers and the Jasons and all that stuff. So he's actually reviewing the scary movies to learn how to make the perfect scary movie. And he'll watch as many as it takes till he gets down the perfect formula so that he can become like the next horror icon or Monstar, if you will, so that he can achieve what he tried to in life before his death.
That's kind of interesting. Now, I noticed that the guy? It's the pig. Who is that right there?
Oh yeah, that's Billy. Billy is an apocalyptic goat sidekick. He's actually a runaway from hell that's laying low with Dead West.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now I notice he doesn't say much. He just goes, "Ee!" I noticed that you don't have him talk that much, and he makes groans and moans. Why is with that? You just have Dead West talking, and I noticed you have now. Do you do all the voices for the characters, or is it just somebody else that does the voices for the characters too?
No, well, we recently did a recording with a lot of people for the next season that we're working on, but the majority of the voices are done by myself. When it comes to Billy, that was kind of a back and forth. We were working on whether or not to have him be able to speak, but it ultimately resulted where we thought it'd just be for really just cuter if he was kind of more of a Slimer kind of character with that kind of stuff.
Wow, that's pretty simple. Now, where did you come up for the idea for the Mexican vampire? That was kind of interesting and quirky right there, I think, and he was the most boring person that you could ever speak to.
Oh, yeah. Mexican Dracula, that is based on a little bit of a personal experience with just anybody you've ever known where you just cannot stand to listen to them talk because you just don't care about anything they're talking about. But the other inspiration behind the Mexican Dracula part was, I don't know if you knew this, but when the original Dracula was filmed with Bela Lugosi, parallel to his filming, like right behind their filming, would be filming of the Spanish version of the same movie. So as soon as Bela Lugosi wrapped filming for the day, the Spanish team would come in and they film with the Spanish actors for their version of the same movie. So I just always had this kind of funny idea in my head how whatever happened to that Dracula that almost nobody remembers or knows about unless you're watching special features in these old Universal Monster movie DVDs.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Funny. Yeah, they like an actual Spanish duplicate of the same movie, but in Spanish.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like I said, as soon as they stopped filming,
Pretty
the Spanish
hilarious to
actors came
think
in and
of,
shot the
though.
same thing, just in Spanish.
Wow. Now, wouldn't you think they would have dubbed it over in Spanish, do you think? Or why did they have to make that exact movie in Spanish with Spanish actors, do you think?
You know, I actually don't know. I don't know what the technology. Well, I guess they could have done that because they're overlapping music on top of those movies in the 30s. So I guess they could. They could have dubbed it, but I don't know.
You know, I have to say that your channel is very original and very entertaining, and I'm very amused by it. I'm a subscriber, and I hope that you can subscribe to my channel.
Already have.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And
Yeah, I dig your show. It's just really good. I love the positive energy that you bring to the show. You have a good message, and you come across as a very good person, and that's one reason why I was happy to come on to the show with you.
now the reason why I'm interviewing Mr. Dead West, am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
Have I been calling you Deadwood, by the way?
No, you've called me Dead West the whole time.
Hi. The reason why I met Mr. Dead West here, I was at Todd's Sandwich Shop, and I was sitting down, and I was looking through my Twitter, and I saw this channel, and I asked him, what is this? I click on it, and it's this series about all sorts of horror stuff, and so I'm like, okay, let me send a message to him, and I'll have him on Tommy Talks. I messaged him. He gives me his email, and I got confused at first because I thought it was a troll account. It was messaging me, and I'm like, wait a second, is this your account? He's like, oh, yes, this is my account. And I'm like, just want to make sure. So I basically, he said he found the what was the reason that you sent your channel to me exactly? I forgot.
Yeah, we just were trying to grow the audience, trying to put ourselves out there a little bit more, just to get some notice. Because I mean, we believe in our show and we know it's good, but we just need to find or let more people know about it, just so they can come in and enjoy like the entertainment we're trying to put out there. And one way of doing that was we just came up with a simple kind of door-to-door kind of mentality where we put together like an invitation. And we just were going through the horror community and Twitter with all the friends that we had made and people that were following us and that we followed. And we were just more or less, I mean, we weren't spamming was not what we were doing so much as like just like looking at people's, just profile and the little thumbnail. And it would say like, oh, we like horror movies, we like monsters, or we like this and that. And we would just take a shot like, well, they might enjoy our show and send them an invitation. Yours had something to that degree, and luckily, you opened the invitation and you liked it, and you made us aware of you, and it's pretty much where we're at right now, and I think it's all gravy.
Yes, it is. Just a second, Mr. Dead West, I want to put a little advertisement out there. As you know, folks, I put on Facebook about a event that I'm doing. Just a second, I'll put it back on me. We'll get back to talking to Mr. Dead West in a minute. So, I want to say something. May the 5th, my show of Taj.0 will be airing. Yes, a while back ago, I had flown out to LA to meet Daniel Tosh. So May the 5th, at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here, in our area, if you tune into your television around 10 o'clock on Comedy Central, you will see me. And, you'll see Daniel first. He'll be bashing on my video, possibly. But May the 5th, you can check it out, folks. Write down on your calendars, Tommy NC 2010 on Comedy Central. I like to say I'm a two-time Hall of Famer of maybe I can on this I'll get like rings. It says an M and a C for Comedy Central, and two-time Hall of Famer. Hopefully become a Hall of Famer of hopefully some more networks and stuff like that. I get to be on more shows, and that's my big dream, is to be in Hollywood, which smells like chlorine. Folks, I will tell you, yes, Hollywood smells like chlorine. L.A. when I went there, I'm like, Dad, and he's like, what? And I'm like, it smells like chlorine here, and he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it smells like one of those pools that you go to, and it's just covered with chlorine. It's just, and then you go swimming in, and you come in, ooh, your skin is burning, your eyeballs are burning on your sockets. But just to let you know, May the 5th, I will be airing on Taj Point. Oh, I hope you guys will enjoy that and tune into that night at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, Mr. Dead West.
By the way, Mr. Rasmussen wanted me to let you know that he's saying hi and he's indulging on the NHL playoffs right now. It's the reason
really? So that's so wait a minute. That's the excuse that he has for not being here tonight?
Yes, I know. I'm kind of watching it right now myself, but I just have the TV on mute.
Oh, come on, man. I could have been watching
Your mind is right. I'm watching Ottawa going against Montreal. It went to overtime right now. It's just about over. One goal
don't
and
worry.
then
Rasmus, don't worry. I'm sorry. I'm pulling your chains there. Nothing too personal. Just wish you were.
Of course you are, Tommy.
So, Dead West, Mr. Dead West, what is I know you have. Are you looking to? Would you like any suggestions for any good horror films, or do you have a good setup roster right now?
Are you asking like what I would suggest people watch, or are you asking if I should be asking anyone's suggestion for what I should review?
Yeah, if you would like me to give you any suggestions for good horror films or anything like that.
Let's see. Of the good ones I've seen lately, It Follows wasn't too bad. If you like John Carpenter and Jaws with that constant tension, you might enjoy that. And my friends and I had plenty of jokes we said out loud in the theater about the STD ghost.
Yes. Sarah, we can do without that, please. What were you saying?
Sorry, the moment he said John, I just had to break into that.
What is your opinion on Gremlins and Tremors, the Tremors series, and let me think, another one.
Don't eat it. Don't make those about Gremlins eat after midnight. Or more importantly as well, don't get them soaked in water. They will multiply when you throw water on them.
So, Mr. Dead West, what do you think of those movie series?
Gremlins love the second one the most, and out of Tremors, love all those movies. Fourth one was maybe a little weak, but maybe only because it was set in a different time period, which didn't make it a bad movie, just different from the others. And I'm really looking forward to the fifth one that's supposed to be coming out, I believe, in October this year.
Really? Now, I have a question for you. Remember this line? Bert, did you check all of your pockets? Do you remember that?
Yeah, the second one.
Did you check all of your pockets? Like, well, if I was let to know what kind of enemies we were fighting, I would have brought more ammunition.
I'm still kind of pissed though. If you look at I think it was the third movie. You watch the third movie inside the shop in the town. There's actually like Dark Horse comics of the Tremors on the shelf. And for the longest time, I thought, oh man, they must have made those. I missed them, but I think it was completely made up for the movie. But I wish they really had made them.
That's kind of. Are you serious? Dark Horse just made a brand of comics just for that movie?
From what I remember, yeah, it was right in the background in the little gift shop.
Oh, you mean was that part 1 or part 2? I think it was part.
Yeah, it was part 3 because it was the Graboids versus Shriekers. I remember were like the 3 different comics.
Wow, that's I didn't notice that at the time. I tell you what, one of my favorite scenes from Tremors was when Burt Gummer is coming down from the hills and his truck is completely messed up and he stops the truck and he gets out and it's the line of lines and he's like pulls his guns out and he says, "I am completely out of ammo." That's never happened to me before.
Now, did you see the series that was on Sci-Fi?
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm
That's
all
not-
out of gum.
Yes, I did, but it was kind of lackluster because after a while it was just the same premise that they were always after the graboids and stuff like that, and there was always somebody else, from out of town coming in getting eaten by the graboids, and it kind of became lackluster. It's hard to fill in shoes to a movie that was awesome, and then when you try to make a show on top of it, it's very lackluster.
Yeah, I have all the movies in DVD, but have yet to buy the TV series, and it's because of that reason. I remember watching it when it was on TV, but it's like the whole Tremors movie was maybe only 10% of the show, and the other 90% was just these kind of weird Erie, Indiana, Twilight Zone kind of stories going on.
Yes, and honestly, I think the actor that played Burt Gummer, I think he kind of fell out for a while. I've heard he's been wandering around, and I've been hearing that they're going to use the same cover as the Tremors 1 and Tremors 2, and I'm like, come on, can't you get any more, get technical with it, and I thought you can't stand on the ground if they could hear by vibrations.
Yeah, I still think that was one of the more fun scenes out of the first one when they're like bouncing around from the rocks and everything and running as fast as they can.
Yeah. I got an idea.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, if you think about it, it's basically Land Shark from Saturday Night Live. It's Jaws if he was on land. That's pretty much what it was.
Wow. Yeah. By the way, I have a question for you. Have you seen that parody of Bambi with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
No, was that recent on SNL?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen it.
Apparently, the whole storyline is Bambi wants revenge for his mother dying. And so what happens is The Rock, him just being his beefy self, dresses up like Bambi, and he's like, we're going to go after these hunting people. They're in a hunting lodge, and we're going to gun them down. And guess who's playing Thumper?
Oh, who?
The guy from Fast 7, Vin Diesel.
Oh.
You know why they call me Thumper? 'Cause I thump, 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 thump.
Now, have you seen Bambi versus Godzilla? Okay, yep, you have seen it.
Poor Bambi. I love it. It made me laugh. I was like, oh, oh, poor Bambi. Can you imagine being in Japan and going hunting and trying to hunt deer? All of a sudden you're thump, 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 and all of a sudden you look up and you're just like, uh, honey, can you tell me how I'm gonna get that on my wow? Can you hold still, Mr. Godzilla, while I shoot at you? Honey, I'm gonna need that Neospar in there.
I didn't realize the Japanese sounded so southern.
You know what's something interesting? Everybody, I think, in a culture has their own brand of Southern people. The Latino people have it. I'm guaranteeing that if you look close enough, everybody has their own culture, like redneck culture, as their own. And even the Canadians have the redneck culture. Have you seen Trailer Park Boys?
Oh yeah, love Trailer Park Boys.
Who is your favorite character?
I guess my guilty pleasure of a favorite character has to be Bubbles, just because he's just the crap that he says and the things he does is just hilarious.
Rabies. I think it might have rabies. Ha! It's rabies with a B. Ricky. Rick. I really want to get my grade 10. and that's gonna make me smarter, and I'll be smarter.
Yeah, Tommy, we just had a Trailer Park Boys at the movie theater. Well, I think it was that Don't Legalize It one. That's what it was.
Oh, really?
I think we only had that movie for about like a few weeks though. It did not really stay really long at all.
Now, I know this is off horror, but what is your all-time favorite episode of Trailer Park Boys? Would you say?
Oh man, it's been a while since I've seen it. Cause see, I used to watch it with my college buddies back around the mid 2000s, and one episode I can remember.
Season 9 is on Netflix right now.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that. See, I can remember the movie. The movie was definitely one that sticks out in my head, and then everything I'm thinking of, I think, was in the movie. Like when they were trying to rob the gumball machine full of, or no, that was the vending machine ball in the theater full of change, and they went to the trouble of like making a fake armor truck and like duct taping themselves like fake security guard uniforms.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this is off topic too, but has anybody here ever seen SwearNet yet?
No, I hadn't seen that.
Trailer Park Boys, or at least though, just semi-fictional versions of the guys that were the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh yes, man, check it out. It's on YouTube. It's SwearNet the movie. It's basically the idealism they've been coming off of making Trailer Park Boys, and they want to do something new. So what they decide to do is go off on their own, and they make their own network, but everything goes terribly wrong. Like, everything goes bad here, bad there, and they start making this thing, they get arrested, and they create this thing called SwearNet, and they film it every single day, and they charge their viewers $5 to watch SwearNet. And it's an interesting project, and you find out who are the Trailer Park Boys. A little tidbit into, I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a mention about at the end of the film about who the Trailer Park Boys are and who are Ricky and Julie and Bubbles, and you'll see that in the movie if you check it out. It's SwearNet the movie on Netflix if you check it out, man.
Yeah, I definitely will. Hey, let me ask you something too. Now, you said you're a fan of wrestling, right?
Yes, I am.
Now, wrestling has been dipping their toes, if not their both feet, in the horror genre a lot lately. I mean, they've been making their big movie company and everything going on here for a while. How do you feel about the relation between wrestling and horror movies? Because they did, I believe it's See No Evil 2, and they did the Leprechaun Origins movie.
Oh my gosh. I have to say that WWE just needs to stick to being a wrestling company, and I really think that them trying to express themselves and put their actors into these good horror, these B-rated horror films, I really think they should just stick to wrestling and what they're good at. Honestly, if you look at some of the characters that have symbolized, they're pretty much horror, like Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker, Kane, the Boogeyman. Now, are you a wrestling fan of today? Or are you a wrestling fan of yesterday, of like WWF and WCW?
Yeah, I've got to confess, I'm actually more of a fan of the yesteryear of wrestling, only because I just haven't been watching it as of late. So I mean, if it's not someone who's already been there for a while when I was watching it, or if it's not someone I've seen on a cereal box, more than likely I'm not going to be that familiar with today's wrestlers. But I think the other thing, too, is if you agree with this, I think the other thing is a lot of today's wrestlers, I feel like they don't have the same theatrics to really stand out. A lot of them just look a little too much alike for me. They don't have the identifying face paint or body armor or big gimmick like they did like back in the 80s and 90s.
I know.
You don't have people walking out looking like the Road Warriors anymore. They all look kind of the same, where it's just the underwear or skivvies and and either a bald head or kind of a crop haircut.
Yeah, Mad Max kind of died now. But yeah, I know they are making a new movie now though with Tom Hardy, but come on, the original with Mel Gibson, like, no, 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 not the same.
Well, I think we can respect the decision on the new Mad Max movie because Mel Gibson just said he was too old, he wouldn't do it. So I mean, they did go to him first.
Yeah,
Wait,
you know.
wait, you're saying that they did try contacting Mel Gibson first, and he just turned the role down?
Yeah, he said he was too old for it.
Oh, okay.
You know, honestly, I would
I
like to.
guess I could see the reason why. This
You
is
know,
my
honest,
little guy for sort of agreeing on the subject here.
honestly, I would say I'd like to see a movie with kind of an older version of that with Mel Gibson in it, and see how far that what has happened in that history, how far have they come. Instead of making a remake and redoing the film, let's see what happened in that universe after the first attack. After the whole oil, the whole water incident happened, and let's see what happens afterwards. What do you think of that?
Well, it may not be as far in the storyline that I know of as of yet from what you're saying, but it's not a remake and it's not a prequel. It's actually a sequel. It just takes place sometime. It's either taking place sometime between the first and the second movie or the second and third movie.
Really? So they
Yeah.
waited that long to make it?
Well, they've been trying to make it for a long time. They tried to make that movie since I think the 90s, and they were going to have Robert Downey Jr. in it and Mel Gibson, but something kept happening where they were getting pushed back because George Miller was, I think, directing. He was obligated to direct all these other movies first or something, and they had to keep pushing it off. And then when it finally came time, it was years later, and like I said, Mel Gibson said he was too old to play the part, and they had to move on and find someone else to pick up the role.
And they looked at him and they looked up at Tom Hardy and said, "Oh yeah, he's got to be a Mad Max."
Now, have you ever heard of? Now, this is not much of a horror movie, but have you ever watched this movie, The Iceman?
No, I don't think I have. I know
You
the
should
X-Men Iceman, of course, but I haven't seen the movie called Iceman.
You should
I know
check it
Val
out.
Kilmer from Top Gun is Iceman, but not this one.
Yeah,
The-
yeah, Val Kilmer in Top Gun.
Now, the story of the Iceman is about a man named Richard Kuklinski. He was a hitman for the mafia, and he killed almost 100 people in his hitman career. And the movie was very well done. If you want to ever branch out and do like a kind of a gangster kind of flick, I would recommend suggesting to you the movie The Iceman. And I think it's a really good film in my opinion, and I would recommend you reviewing it if you want to review it, if you want to branch off from horror.
Yeah, I've played around with the idea of that before, where if horror ever became boring, like what other genre would I want to review? And I think next in line would have to be bad action movies, because there's so many. Because I'm a big fan. I mean, when the Expendables came out, that was kind of like a dream come true. Because I'm a big fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris and Stallone and Schwarzenegger, and I have so many of their films.
Yeah, like I'm a big action. I'm a big fan of all these action stars too. Like I seen Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris. Action stars like this as well. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I gotta see this.
Have you ever seen Steven Seagal in Against the Dark, where he fights vampires?
No, but I have seen him in Under Siege 1 and 2. I must have only seen Under Siege 1 only once, but I have seen him Under Siege 2 Dark Territory an awful lot, and every time I watch it, that was just awesome.
Now, what is your opinion? What is your opinion of the movie On the Hills Have Eyes? The remakes. What is your opinion on those films? Do you think the original one was better, or the one back in the '80s was better with the hillbillies?
I think the first, the original by Wes Craven, I think that was really good. I mean, that was a great movie. Just the fear of how they were just out in the middle of nowhere and everything. The second one, I think it was a little bit watered. Well, I say the second one, the remake, the first remake. I thought that was a little bit watered down, but that was only because we've already been there, we've seen that, so there wasn't much they brought to the table. I felt that made us like as fearful as we were in watching that first one when it came out, or when we saw it, really, because I mean when it came out I wasn't even born yet. But then the sequel I thought was a good follow-up, but if I had to pick which one I thought was the best out of all four, the original two and the two remakes, I'd probably pick the first one by Craven.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna end the show for tonight, but thank you, Mr. Dead West, for coming on here. And if you want to, you can give yourself a plug real quickly, and I'm going to end off the show here. We've had an awesome show here tonight. With oh, wait a minute, before we go off, Mark, do we have any questions for Mr. Dead West in the comments or at all?
Not really, Tommy. Some questions I'm not sure I want to answer them.
Okay. Well, Mr. Dead West, if you want to give yourself a plug, and then I'm going to end off the show here. But thank you for coming on, by the way.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Tommy. I'm glad we connected and were able to come together in your show here. But yeah, anyone who's interested, like I said, if you want to see what is going to be the future of horror hosting, just come watch us at the web's #1 animated horror host site, and I stress the #1 animated horror host site because no other has done it from what we could find. And you can find us at our website, screamingsoup.com, or pull us up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Screaming Soup. You can also follow us on Twitter at Screaming Soup 1, and please like our Facebook. Our newest episode is actually coming out tomorrow. We should be releasing it by 8 a.m. It's going to be us reviewing Monster Dog, where we celebrate Alice Cooper.
Okay. Well, as always, folks, I'm Tommy NC 2010, and always I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Catch you later, folks. Thank you, and I'll see you next weekend. And I will be interviewing a gentleman that doesn't have a YouTube channel, and he will be building up his channel. And hopefully, after the interview, he'll be building up his channel, and we'll be having him on next week. So I'll be always looking for more guests for Tommy Talks. So just go to twitter.com/TommyNC2010. Or the Tommy NC 2010 page on Facebook, and just a Tommy Talk page on Facebook also. And as always, I'm keeping you on the inside fact.
See you guys later.